My daughter was playing with a girl in a Chinese factory the other day. We were going and checking out a factory, and we had my daughter with me. And she was out playing around, looking at stacks of boxes and stuff. And there was a girl that lives in the factory with her parents. And, well, we were doing our thing. She wanted to go and play. And so my daughter, who's, half Chinese, half American, was connecting with a girl who was Chinese on a totally different rung of the socioeconomic ladder with a completely different future ahead of her. Maybe I'll take that back. A completely different set of options available to her. It's sometimes traveling, one of the best things it does is it gives you perspective. It allows you to kind of see the different paths available to different people on different parts of the world and in different levels of poverty, different levels of opportunity. And my daughter, who, honestly, she speaks Chinese, she speaks English, she speaks local Ningbo dialect in some ways, she speaks a little Spanish. She's not going to really want for too much. She's growing up in a country with a lot of possibilities. As much as you want to denigrate China, they've done a lot of really good things for a lot of their people. And it was a really interesting point of view to see my daughter playing with this girl. They were running through all the corridors of this fairly large factory. It wasn't huge, but it was pretty big. And you had areas where there was printing, and there was areas of plastic injection molding. There was areas of packaging and logistics, and there was big cavernous factory floors that were unoccupied. Eva was just so excited. This virus has created a void of friendship that can only be filled with mom and dad. And you know what? Mom and dad aren't the most fun people to be around all the time. It's just true. There's only so much we can take, and we can't. I'm a playful dad, but it has its limits. Even when I was younger, I got along with people older than me. In fact, when I was in elementary school and middle school, everybody thought I had some mental disorder, and I probably do. I think most of us do. But in this circumstance, I was just never got along with anybody my own age. So they signed me up for a counselor, and what was his name, Mr. Anderson or something? This was way before the Matrix, so don't draw those connections. But I ended up playing chess with my counselor, and every day we would have interesting conversations, and every day I would sort of look forward to my meeting with my counselor. I don't know how much time went by, maybe weeks, and they met with my mom. The counselor met with my mom and said, he just doesn't get along with kids his own age. He gets along with me and adults. I've always kind of had that connection. I never really, I don't know. I didn't skip being a kid, but I just didn't entertain myself the way most kids entertain themselves. And it's kind of hurt my daughter a little bit, because I just don't necessarily have that playfulness that kids her age really, really enjoy. That almost 4-year-old kind of desire to just nonstop play. It's tough. It's tough because she wants that, and I can't give it to her as much as she'd like. She just wants to play nonstop. Good on her. Good on her. And she needs it. But this virus has kind of kept people away from each other, has distanced each other, distanced children from other children because they can't quite go to school and play with each other. They, even though China right now is very, very open, especially my area, Ningbo. It's I think we had one case pop up here in Zhejiang, so it's the indications of a second wave coming, but there's no like the play dates are starting to come back, but still it's mom and dad mostly. I've been clamoring to find somebody in this building for her to play with, and every time I get in the elevator, I find one girl or one mom or one kid that I'm like, hey, what's your WeChat to the mom? You know, WeChat is the way people connect here in China. So I'm like, what floor do you live on? I'm not trying to be creepy. I just would like our kids to play together. We've been doing crazy things like outside here. There's a water effect, and some frogs have laid eggs, and tadpoles have started to grow in those ponds, and we've brought them into the house. We have a plant here with a bunch of just the roots in the water, and we have about 6 tadpoles. One of them turned into a frog. We had to release it the other day, but I'm trying to get her to play, trying to get her childlike wonder. The tadpole thing actually is a great thing. I although I didn't get along with people, I was very solitary when I was younger, and I was the kind of kid that would go in the backyard after a heavy rain or a few days after a heavy rain, and my neighbor's house would fill up like a pond, like a makeshift pond. Ducks would land in it. When the ducks would land in the pond, it was quite amazing. It was a big surprise. The ducks are in the pond. The ducks are in the pond. I lived in suburban America. It wasn't quite the countryside, you know. So having a little pond in the neighbor's yard was kind of a big deal. So I'd scoop up a little bit of rainwater and I'd put it under a little microscope I got from the hobby shop, and that would keep me entertained for a while. So the frogs, tadpoles turned frogs, that was a good project for me and her to share. But I digress. She needs playfulness. So we went to this factory. We brought her along. My wife was doing business with the factory, and I was doing Mr. Mom stuff, just watching Eva. And she, met this girl. Kid grew up around plastic injection mold machines, heavy machinery, high-lows, and 20-foot container trucks coming in and getting loaded with all manner of goods. And it was just really, really interesting to see 2 kids, the same age, the same location, with completely different sets of skills, completely different opportunities, and a completely different path set out in front of them. Careful.
I jump by myself, I just I can do this. I'm okay.
But you could see positives in everybody. And this girl was strong, you could tell. She was only 3.5, same age as Eva, but she was strong. You could tell in a lot of things. Her stride, when she ran, her legs picked up in some sort of a way that told you that she played. She played like I used to play in my backyard, running around, before the internet and iPads and TV and all of this stuff. I mean, I grew up with rabbit ears on our television set and those little clicker dials. Click channel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then static for the rest. But this girl kind of, I'm maybe related to her a little bit on that fact. And to see Eva, who has grown up pretty sheltered, very sheltered around this virus thing, and then this girl, it was beautiful. This girl and Eva were racing back and forth in that large cavernous part of the factory, and they were just running, and Eva was sweating. I mean, she was really, really sopping with sweat, and she was just trying to play. She reminded me of, I had this old golden retriever, Ben, Ben, my dad used to warn me. He's like, don't toss the ball to Ben too much because he will play until he dies. He is just he is just engineered to keep going. And so I was like, oh, okay. It was interesting to think of an animal that would move so much, a creature that would move so much, even against its own best interest until the thing croaked, you know. And Eva was sort of, I was like, oh, geez, I gotta put a little governor on her to make sure she doesn't run herself literally into the ground, you know. The little girl was a little apprehensive, but Eva has a spirit in her that I think she gets from me, where she is very sociable, which is funny because early on at her age I wasn't sociable, but later on like the me now today I'm a pretty sociable guy, but the guy that was her age, I was insecure. I was not sure of myself, and I didn't get along with anybody. Well, a lot of kids my own age, but she does, and she'll go out and say hi. She actually says hi to bus drivers. So we'll drive around, and then she'll roll down her window. She loves to roll down her window. She loves to put her hand out. Actually, her hands are brontosauruses, and she'll be one brontosaurus, and the brontosauruses will talk to each other. Annie, my wife, gets frustrated because when Eva goes to bed, she'll have long, drawn-out brontosaurus to brontosaurus conversations. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. And I don't know, it's just gibberish. She'll even come up to my ear and say, I want to tell you a secret. And she'll go to my ear and she'll go, Mommy. She'll always end with a word. Anyways. She has her brontosaurus. She hangs out the window, and the brontosaurus will eat the vegetables in the trees. We'll hear it from the back seat. This chomping, and she'll eat grass. Her brontosaurus, but then a bus driver will drive by, and she'll say, "Hi." And it's something I love to do. I love to introduce myself to strangers with nothing but happiness. You know, this big smile. I love my smile. It's one of the things I enjoy. I love the creases in my eyes when I smile really big. Your face is a beautiful thing to express emotion, you know, and disarm people. And so when I smile to people, it's very disarming because I'm a kind of a taller guy, especially here in China, and to smile at somebody is a very nice thing to do. It's especially today, when we have sort of things brewing and the otherness kind of ingraining in culture, like you're this way, you're Chinese, you're American, you're UK, you're Australian. It's like this thing, the smile can cut through a lot of that. And I've luckily been able to pass that on to Eva, and she's not, when she's not being a little stinker dinker, she's very easy to smile, very easy to share that smile. Very easy to share an introduction. So she waves to people. Anyways, she was able to grab the hand of this girl and start playing around the factory, and there was a weird give and take, you know, like there was a confidence from Eva to introduce, but there was a confidence in this girl to run, a confidence to jump, a confidence to get dirty. Because she was dirty, you know. She was playing in filthy places, you know. She was playing around machinery that kids ordinarily would be distracted from playing around. Now, the factory was closed down, so these machines were not running at the time. It was just, just everything was quiet in the factory. The only noise was the sound of pitter-patter feet and giggles from Eva and this girl. And so watching them play around was just a joy and insightful and inspiring in a lot of ways. Because what did this girl have that Eva didn't have? Oh, a whole bunch of experience. She probably knew everybody from the village because this factory was amongst an area of a lot of other factories, and some of the factory workers lived on the factory and some of them lived nearby. But the village and the factory were basically one and the same. They were all one community, and she was plugged in, whereas Eva has been existing in a community of three, me me, my wife, and her. This little girl was, pandemic or not, connected to everybody. And it was nice to see her play. Eva thinks she's Elsa, and if she touches anybody, they'll turn to ice. Elsa, don't touch me. Anna, don't touch me. Don't touch me, you'll turn to ice. And there was a few moments I had to pull myself away, and if my wife was there, she would have probably, no, don't do that, pulled her down and tried to tamper the essence of what she was getting at, which was childhood. Like, she was just having a great time jumping from stacks of boxes and looking through workshop cabinets and seeing big, heavy machinery and mold bases. And this was this little girl's reality. And she was sharing it with Eva. And I started thinking about life and travel and what that has given me. And what Eva was experiencing with this little girl was what I experienced every time I rode my trike into another new little village, or every time I set foot out of America, or even inside America, every time I introduced myself to a new person. Every experience you have just increases your overall wisdom. It adds to you. It adds to your essence. And I could see Eva just adding to hers. And it was quite nice. There was even an instance where the little girl walked into an area. I think it was a trimming area where the plastic injection parts come in and then they're trimmed. And the little girl had boxes stashed everywhere. Boxes of stuff. An old broken flip phone. Pieces of plastic. Toys that were in tatters. Toys we would have probably honestly discarded because Eva has a lot of toys. Better toys. What makes a better toy? The best toy is the one you play with, right? So like that flip phone. She flips it open, taps a few numbers, gives it to Eva. Eva puts it up to her ears naturally as kids today do. We didn't have cell phones. I remember my dad, he was the first one to pitch the idea that phones are going to take pictures. I remember the pixelation of these first few phone pictures. I was like, Dad, nobody's going to want to take pictures with phones, I grew up with phones and spiral cords connected to walls. It's funny. Anyways, Eva's playing with this phone and sharing this thing, and then the girl goes and finds this big, heavy cardboard box, like Gatling gun. It was a huge gun that she had made out of cardboard tubing and cardboard boxes, and it was pretty cool. It even had a cartridge. You could change the bullets. You could add new bullets, and they were pointing it at each other in this kind of non-violent playfulness. It was very, very cute. And it was funny because Eva would every so often show her, not privilege, but just difference. And the girl would just be kind of confused. As much as that girl was sharing her life with Eva, Eva was sharing some things with her. And there were some things about sharing. Like, I'm trying to get Eva more interested in sharing. She tends, if there's an interesting toy, she tends to a little bit hoard it. At the same time, if the other girl has a toy, she'll say, sharing is caring. Sharing is caring works both ways. But it's just beautiful to see the two sharing the essence of each other with each other and sweating the whole way, like playing and running and clasping hands and talking to each other about different things and just a real joy. And to also extrapolate that further and think about how that girl is going to grow up and going to be strong. Like, she's going to be a really, really strong girl. I could tell. You live in a factory like that, you become a strong person. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle a lot of people in the world will never see. I grew up in suburban America, so I grew up a fairly soft. I had a mom that was like Beaver Cleaver mom. You know, she would stand out and give me my bag lunch on my way to school, and I would walk to school with my buddies, and I didn't really have a care in the world. There was no poverty in my youth. That's not to say I've never lost money. I've never been wanting. I've been in debt, and I've had good times, and so the ups and downs are helpful. But a lot of people grow up in a sort of a rat race where they earn enough income to be comfortable. The comfortable in America is very comfortable, or has been, especially when I grew up. And so you kind of never tasted poverty, a lot of people. And then the people that do taste poverty tend to taste it a lot, you know. Hard begets harder, and wealth begets more wealth, especially when you're on the top tiers. So you have these kind of interesting things, and I'm exposed to a lot of it. I've been exposed to different people in different parts of the world at different rungs of that ladder. It has been just really, really important for me to gain perspective. I think the guy today that you're looking at right now, if you had a conversation with a guy 10 years ago, that conversation would be mind-blowing. And I don't know what I would think of that guy 10 years ago. I would hope you would get to this guy quick. Because I feel I've seen a lot of stuff, and it's helped me to gain an increased perspective. But Eva and this kid were just playing around, running up and down stairs, and she was even falling. I like to see Eva fall. It's not a sadist thing. It's me enjoying the idea that she's learning a lesson. Every time you fall, you learn not to fall again, right? So you trip over a step, as long as you don't hurt yourself too bad, then you learn from that. I say that knowing that my child has a cast on her arm right now. Eva has a cast on her arm. And just so silly. When Eva was 1 year old, she used to like to sit in a laundry basket. I know this conversation is trailing around. We just did this Korea video. I've been staring at political videos for the past while. I just want to talk and tell you a little bit about Eva and this experience. So we're just going to have a little chit-chat. I'll get more directed in future episodes, but I think this is what I want to talk about today. This is me getting back into the zone after that big Korea video. Anyways, when Eva was younger, she used to like to stand in laundry baskets.
Daddy. 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 Daddy.
And she would dance and sing and do all sorts of goofy stuff in this laundry basket. And one time she fell over in the laundry basket. And when she hit the ground, she went, "Oh, mama."
Oh, mama.
And she just giggles all the time when she sees that video clip. And she tried to mimic that fall in the laundry basket, but she's much bigger, much taller, and it used to be that laundry basket would contain her, but she fell over. This time her arms were out, and she tried to stop herself, and I think her arm got caught under the laundry basket, and her body weight just twisted her arm in a weird way, and so it fractured. We had to go to the hospital, and we had to get her a cast, and now she's running around with a cast. Lessons learned. You grow over time. And things you used to do at 1, you can't do at 4. Anyways. So she was playing around with this girl, jumping around. I mean, she should have gotten the cast at that moment. She definitely dodged some bullets there. But it was just a beautiful thing to see two people from two separate lifestyles with two separate lists of opportunities based on where they grew up, playing together, sharing experience. The more people can do that, the better the world will be. Maybe some of those experiences will teach that factory girl a few lessons that will help pull her up the rungs of the ladder. Maybe some of the experiences the factory girl can teach Eva can tamper down her over-exuberance, overconfidence, give her some reality check. And eventually, if more and more of these people meet, more and more of these people exchange lifestyles, exchange ideas, exchange thoughts, they can come to a middle ground where we all will benefit. That's my big JaYoe there. JaYoe, if you guys don't know, Ja is to add and Yo means fuel. JaYoe is something very popular in China to say, JaYoe, add whatever you need to win, to succeed, to win the race, to get the job, to do whatever. And on that factory floor, the little girl was giving Eva some of her fuel. And Eva was in turn giving that little girl a little bit of her fuel. And by exchanging a little bit, they were both adding fuel to their lives. Very poignant. My wife, Annie, she is an interesting example because she grew up in these factories. She grew up around machines. When she was younger, she worked machines. She was on the plastic injection mold machines. She was wrapping boxes and taping things and helping people. She kind of had to. Her and her sister grew up with her father. Her mom passed away tragically. And so she was forced into a situation to be that little factory girl, working with her dad, who owned the factory, was working hard too to grow the factory. And she became the woman I know today, who is very sure-head, very strong. You don't want to mess with Annie, because that little girl will come out. The little Annie girl that operated that machine, that little Annie girl that used to have grease on her face after a long day's play work, because it was like play and work at the same time. And I'm a bit of a softie, I guess. Maybe a snowflake, if you'd say. I like my snowflake self. But I've also added a lot to my life by being with her and knowing her. And Eva's going to actually inherit a lot of the hardness of her mom, and the softness of her dad, and the empathy of her dad, and the sharpness of her mom. I think that's important. As we go forward through this crazy time we're at, I hope that you all appreciate who you run into and open your eyes to different lifestyles and different people, because I think it's important that we continue to subject ourselves to different people, and we continue to always welcome new experiences into our lives. I also hope that a lot of you guys get to travel more, because even you could probably never meet the same factory style lifestyle as that girl in America, but you would in different parts of the world, you know, and that girl would never be able to meet you, and that would be a loss too to a lot of you guys. You have a lot to share, you know. I think a lot of you think that I'm trying to be pro this or anti that. In a lot of ways, I'm just pro people and pro wisdom and pro moving forward. And the only way we can move forward in this world is to be together and to share and to unite. And the moment we start fearing each other is the moment we stop sharing each other. So anyway, that's my lesson for today. I'm going to do some more of these JaYoe conversation things and talk, and I have more poignant topics to talk about. I actually had these clips of Eva playing in the factory. I wanted to use them for something because I thought it was quite beautiful. So enjoy your day. JaYoe, be safe.
No, it's high, baby.
Tomorrow carries with it new opportunities as long as you're smiling. If you like these conversations, please hit the like button. If you'd like to hear more of these, please let me know and comment in the comment section below. Let me know if there's anything else you'd like to talk about, and share this video if you'd like. I hope you did enjoy the Korea video. It took a lot of time to put together. I know that it seemed very accusatory, but I do feel strongly. A lot of the people that have been angry at me for even voicing my opinion on this, they speak strongly about stuff too. It's funny, I had some people saying, you need to stick to riding that trike. You need to not open your mouth on this topic. And then just on Facebook, I'll peruse their timeline, and it's some of the most angry, one-sided, argumentative memes and posts on their timeline, and it just makes me just makes me kind of, I don't know. What's good for the goose is not good for the gander, I guess. You know, some people really, some of the most angry voices out there don't want me to voice my voice. It's interesting. So, anyways, I'm going to keep talking. If you don't want to listen, you don't have to. JaYoe, guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.